Dan Rothenberg and Joe Klosik, two guys trying to figure it out. Not the right wing, not the brosphere. Left of center, with humor and empathy.
Hello, and welcome to
The Splain.
Oh my God. Yes, we nailed it.
Hello, happy Easter to those who celebrate.
Yeah.
As a Jew and
Happy
agnostic,
Passover.
or Passover. There we go. Yeah.
Happy
whatever.
Yes, so happy whatever. So good
Go
Good
find
Friday.
those eggs. Yeah. Merry Christmas.
And for you Jews out there, happy I Can't Complain Sunday. People.
This goes out to all the people who don't celebrate any of this stuff, because
Yeah, and yes, happy just nothing. How about that?
Happy
Nothing. And there's nothing right, and we're not judging your nothing. How about relax, enjoy your Sunday? You are.
Organized religion. Always been sticks in my craw. I'm not even sure where.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
We're not judging. I don't want to get all angry. Okay, I wasn't planning to talk about this. I had my last hairstylist. So you can see this is a big problem. You can see
if you lose a good hairstylist, that's a problem.
It's a first world problem. But my last hairstylist, I'll never forget this. Now, I am not a touchy Jew, oversensitive Jew about the Merry Christmas or this or that or what. I don't expect a happy Hanukkah. I'll even roll with Merry Christmas. This was a couple years ago. I went into my hairstylist. She said to me, "Did you have a good Easter?" And no, I don't know how to answer.
Yeah, they killed one of our own.
What do you even? First of all, what is Easter? He came back or he's dead? Which one? What is Easter?
This is where he rises from the dead, and then all the good children look for Easter eggs and chocolate bunnies.
Okay, Peter.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Peter Cottontail hopping down the fucking whatever.
Yeah,
that's fine. And I felt like I forgot exactly what I said. I felt like that is presumptuous. Easter. Do you know what I mean? You're in the service industry in Portland, Oregon. You work with a lot of people.
Yeah.
At least ask me if I celebrate. Did I have a good Easter? Yeah, I fucking went on an egg hunt. I don't even know what you're talking about.
You should have said, "Did you enjoy your Sunday reading to the blind bisexuals?" That would have been more Portland.
Whatever.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you feel me? That is a bit
Christian
Christian-centric.
Yeah.
Did I have a good It still fucking gets me.
I remember once in San Francisco, this is a long time ago now, 38 Geary around Powell Street, right? It's about 2 weeks before Christmas, and everyone's trying to just shove on this bus, and there's this old lady who's just kind of getting, knocked about, and she was really first in line, and I like, hey, and I stopped everyone, so the old lady could get on the bus, and she looks back at me and she goes, "Thank you." And I'm like, "Well, Merry Christmas." And then she goes, "Well, I'm Jewish." And I don't know what to say. I'm just like, "You didn't look Jewish." And that's not the thing to say.
Did you?
Either. Yeah. Cause I'm like, it was, I don't know she doesn't look like, I didn't mean that in any racial way, but then the people who I had stopped from like pushing her out of the way, as soon as I said, "You don't look Jewish," they were all like, "Oh man." I'm like, "You can't judge me. You were pushing this old lady aside."
Right.
And then you're the bad. And now I'm the bad guy because I'm like, well, I don't know. I think
I'll give you a pass because she came at you. She came at you a little hard. Well, I'm Jewish. That's not necessary. If someone's helping me, they throw me a Merry Christmas. Fine.
Yeah.
And again, did you have a good, presuming I did something.
Right.
But
how many times have you gone to this person for haircuts?
Like a lot.
And they knew you were Jewish?
I don't know. I would not say this. I would not presume someone's
Yeah.
religion.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
It kind of, yeah, it bugged me for some reason. Now, but getting back to what does a Jew look like, Joe?
Oh
You tell
God.
me. No.
I am not answering that because I am not getting canceled. But
Okay.
I don't know. She just didn't look, you know.
In the future,
This was
that's
30 years ago, by the way.
I know.
I'm much more
That's okay.
evolved now.
30 years ago, times, well, in the future, that's not really that's not the politically correct response. Well, you didn't look,
I
you didn't
know.
look Jewish. That's not
I
going to go
know.
well.
Like, what was, yeah.
And
But when she said, I'm Jewish, what was I supposed to do? Like, well, the back of the line, lady, you know, and then everybody else would have been happy.
Were you feeling kind of defensive at the time? Were you
Oh,
kind of like
I said the first thing that came to my mind, and I didn't
Excuse me.
mean it in a racial profiling way or
No,
a
of course
anti-Semitic
not.
way. I just said it like, oh, you don't look Jewish. And I don't know,
Mhm.
you know, it's not like she had to
Now that
have
you mention it,
robes on and, you know, it just, she just, I don't know. She just didn't look Jewish.
we are it gives me a moment of reflection. We are sensitive about what we look like. That is and maybe all minorities are, but there's something about the idea of that there's a Jewish look or we can be identified is taken with sensitivity. I'm not quite sure.
Well, to be fair,
Why?
I am finding out that a lot of people assume my political beliefs based on my face, right?
Yeah.
With like the
Okay.
beard and the
You don't
whites
look
and
right. You don't look
you know,
liberal.
I don't look liberal. I look MAGA, and so oftentimes it's weird to be like people in grocery stores will look at me. You know, sometimes
You can tell.
you can tell. Yeah,
It's
they're
a nod. It's the wrong nod.
because they've got like you know, an American flag, a T-shirt with no sleeves and an eagle, you know, and and they're looking at me like, yeah, they got the similar beard, and they're like, you know what's going on. I'm like, yeah, I do. That's why I'm staying away from you.
So, how did you come to this look?
Mhm.
Like how? No, really. Like, and you shouldn't let society define your look. How did that come about?
Well, you know, it was kind of an accident. That sounds even worse.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't going for a look. I just thought before I never had facial hair. I never really had facial hair. And I thought before I die, I'd like to see what it looks like, right? I was in rehab and I started to grow it. And I was kind of like, you know what? I kind of dig it. You know, I don't know.
It works.
It works. And
It
now,
works.
you know, my girlfriend, I'm sorry, my fiance.
Your fiance, Joey
Digs it.
Cole,
Yeah.
is getting married. Wow.
I'm getting married. I'm not
By the
getting
way,
any. Yeah.
I don't know how to say this. I'm going to say it right now.
Okay.
You better invite me to the wedding.
There's serious talk. Listen, there's serious conversation going on.
Because I never get.
You never get invited?
Yes.
It's because
I never get invited. I'm never a part of. I'm never a part of people's weddings.
Oh,
we have
okay. Listen,
we have a certain.
Let me tell you this, because I think I mean I don't know how you feel about this, but Christine and I have been talking, and we're seriously considering asking you to officiate it.
Really?
Yeah.
I would.
What would you think
honored.
about that?
I'd be honored.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you hear that? Splain listeners, okay, now
you're happy.
Now it's done.
I don't know
You
where
better
Cole
not back
is.
out on me.
Let me see. I'm trying to see where our guest is. Let's see. Hey, Cole, did you get the link? This is behind the scenes magic. We'll probably edit out.
You know what? Let's leave it in. Let's leave it in for the common people.
A lot of you people,
a lot of you guys,
people, really curious about the magic that goes on behind the scenes.
How it goes on. You know what? It's as simple as this. We're just sending out links. Everybody comes to me. You know, they recognize me from the Splain, and they're like, "Wow, how do you guys put that together? How many producers you have?" And I'm thinking, bro, send out a link the
We're
same
just-
way.
Send out a
We're
link
just
the same
sending
way.
out links.
Yeah,
Hey,
just sending out links.
hey.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
How's it going?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Hey.
Oh,
Cole, nice to meet you.
all right. He's figuring out the see again
right.
behind the scenes magic, people.
Yeah,
You just see the
you
finished
see, we're gonna cut
product.
this out.
You
You're gonna
see the
you
magic.
see the polish.
Yeah, but
and
sometimes it's a little rough, you know.
it is
and that's
a
okay.
little rough behind the scenes. It's
Yeah.
So we both got our start in.
I know. I'm trying to troubleshoot. Sorry.
Do you have your external speakers on?
I don't know why it's doing that. I'm trying to get to the thing that it's supposed to be.
Take your time. All good.
Speaker.
Oh, it's I can't hear it anymore.
Can you hear? You can hear my voice?
I can hear your voice. Yes.
Okay. I think I'm in. Yeah, I'm in the headphones now.
Yeah. All right. Awesome.
all right.
Beautiful.
Well, hello, Dan. We will continue this conversation.
Yes.
About possibly marrying me. Well, that sounds
Okay.
weird to say it like that, but
I might officiate Joe's wedding.
Oh, nice. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
So,
So
congrats,
we
Joe.
will just
thank you. I just as a quick side note to our tens of listeners. So I asked Christine to marry me on a storytelling show, and I just realized I got paid to ask Christine to marry me, which already this is paying dividends. Like I'm getting
Yeah.
real world dividends from this marriage proposal.
You could do a proposal tour where you just propose to somebody each
It was
night on
wildly
stage.
popular.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to every weekend now. I got to go back and ask Christine to marry me.
Yep.
Maybe a couple times she'll say no. We'll have fun with that. I don't know.
It'd be a good time.
There's a whole there's a whole world of possibilities there. But anyway, Cole, welcome.
Hello.
welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, I've wanted to have you on for since we started this. You were in the back of my mind because we go way back.
We do.
We go way back. And what I'm always like, there's a fake Cold War between improv and stand up. I think sometimes people see it that way, but guys like Greg Proops, right, who is one of the comics that I looked up to, and also you looked up to for his improv prowess. But one of the things I remember is your origin story at Cobb's and how you got on stage one night, and the rest is kind of history. Do you mind just telling us like what happened that night? How did you get on stage doing improv, and what doors did that open for you?
So I used to hang out at Cobb's a lot because Ben Mayer was like one of my classmates at SF State, and we became good friends. And he worked at Cobb's and worked the front desk there. Old Cobb's in the cannery, which was amazing. I loved that space. And so I would just go to shows a lot and stuff because he was my buddy. And then I was at the New Year's show one year. Actually, no, it wasn't even that. I think it was just like there's some sort of improv thing happening on the stage. And I think it was New Year's one year. And I think it was probably Proops. And they were doing freeze tag, and they were like, hey, anybody in the audience can yell freeze and come up too. And like, no one was going to do it. But I was like, why not? I've done this a billion times. So I yelled freeze like halfway through and went up and, played a, pretty base level improv game with everybody, but did really well and stuff. And that kind of put me on the radar of like, because Tom, I believe, was in that group at the time too, Tom Sawyer. And so I don't know, just kind of got in the good graces of Tom and stuff. And then they started doing these at the end of the Wednesday night showcase, which, was 3 hours of about 20 stand-ups or whatever. And you'd have to call in right at 7 or 6 or whatever it was to try to get a spot. But we had a house improv team that Tom Sawyer was in called the Riffingtons. Mark Hershon ran that. So we would just go up and do about 20
You were
minutes.
in that show, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I have legitimate scars.
So we go up and we do like 20-ish minutes at the end of the 3-hour improv showcase, and then half the time Robin Williams would pop up after us for a while. That happened a lot, but it was a good time. And that's kind of where my like involvement in the SF comedy scene started outside of doing improv at SF State.
Nice. Wow. What's like, how would you describe the differences? I mean, I think everyone knows obvious differences, but how would you describe the difference between improv and stand-up?
I just think they're completely different muscles. I mean, there's different muscles within improv because there's long form improv, there's short form improv, and there's like a rivalry between those two styles. Because, you know, people that do long form improv are like, well, you could take your time and find it organically and blah, blah, blah. So there might not be laughs for 3 minutes or something or ever. And then with the short form, it's like you got to hit it within, you know, 15 seconds or they move on from you. So, and just in terms of that, and then in terms of stand up and stuff, I don't think stand-ups like the fact that improvisers just show up and do it and leave. There's no prep outside of like knowing what your form is or your games are or whatever, and getting, you know, used to improvising with certain people and their rhythms and their styles and stuff like that. But outside of that, like you're just showing up, you're getting a suggestion, you create it organically. It's done one time in the room, everybody's part of that thing, and then it never happens again. And improv doesn't record well on video. It's just one of those things that just doesn't translate very well. It's really a live in the room medium. So I don't think stand-ups really love the fact that we're not honing material. We're not working it. We're not out, you know, hitting the mics, hitting the road, having stuff succeed in one town and bomb in another, and just trying to like really work through your material till you get it there. I don't think they love that you're like, just, hey, I just showed up and I made people laugh and I left and I didn't have to do any prep or work it at all.
But at the same time, you're not writing material, but you have to listen. And that is I've always found it very challenging. I mean, it's acting, it's listening, it's having faith in the process, which stand-ups, we have faith in a certain type of process, but not that. I don't have any faith in a process. You're going to help me in this moment.
Right.
Somehow get to funny. Like that's a departure.
I think, Dan, you're saying you have trust issues.
Yes. And you could see that in the times I've tried improv. Like it's classic.
Did you come up with the Riffingtons? You must have at least once, right?
I didn't come up with the riff. No, I never came up with the Riffingtons, but I did do a little bit of improv. And I did one of Tom's New Year's Eve shows, where at the end he does a little improv with all of us, and it didn't go great for me because I couldn't get out of my way. Do you know what I mean? I was in my head about it.
I mean, that's the hardest part of improv is once you get in your head, it's hard to get out of that space because what you're ideally doing is you're just listening and then responding and like kind of the idea is like, you know, you're setting up like you're bumping the ball so your teammate could spike it, so to speak. So like, because it's a team game, you're trying to like set things up with each other. And the best improv scenes are when you're really just playing off of each other. I mean, I guess it's sort of like stand-ups that do a lot of crowd work that do it well, because they're, you know, just listening to what they're being given and they're playing with it and hopefully good-naturedly so they don't turn the audience against them and stuff. And I think it's similar to that in that thing. It's that kind of muscle of just listening and then like what's funny and what was just said and going through that.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite improv game?
I don't know if I do. I mean, I do a short form game in LA called Mission Improbable. That's like, we do like, it's the framework is that we're secret agents of comedy. So we're wearing like secret agent suits and stuff and trying to equate the missions to be, you know, something in the spy world or like when we're on the field, this thing happens. You got to think on your feet, whatever, etc. There's one called My Movie, which I like a lot, which is kind of a stupid thing of like you get somebody's initials from the audience and then you pitch a movie based on those initials and then it's rapid fire and then you kind of expand it a little bit and then see a scene from it if they like it, that kind of thing. So it really plays into my like strength of, you know, pop culture and movies and things and making stuff up and impressions and stuff too. I get to do those sometimes too. So I like that a lot. But other than that, like, you know, I love doing long form is probably what I do mostly. But even in long form, I'm jokier than most, I think. You know, I'm not like I'm not blowing the scene up because there's some people that will blow a scene up just by like dropping something that makes no sense and then they just have to kill it because it's just done or whatever by pulling a joke out of it instead of making it, you know, about a relationship or whatever is going on in the scene. So I don't do that, but I definitely like, I always feel the whole thing of like, well, this isn't going that great. So what can we do to make it so the audience will laugh and like it? And I think it's like some improvisers don't care about the audience. They're like, we do it for us and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, you should care about the audience because they paid to watch you or didn't pay, but whatever. But they are here giving you their time, which is very valuable. So you should be working hard to give them something that they can appreciate and enjoy, I think.
Is there a audience for long form improv?
Yeah, I think it's more prevalent than short form is by far. I mean, UCB does long form stuff. It's very game based. That's their thing. It's like, what's the funny thing? And then you just, heighten it over and over and play it out. Yeah, I think long form is the thing that most is known now for improv. Not on television. I mean, that was always Whose Line and things like that, because that works as sound bites and that kind of stuff. But so long form improv doesn't really work there. But I think that is the main thing that people are doing now.
How long is a scene for long form?
It can vary. I mean, some scenes are very short. They call them blackouts or whatever. Like you just kind of, it's 3 lines and something hits and you're like, well, this is going nowhere else. And then they, get them out of it. But I would say a couple minutes,
Okay.
Not much longer than that. Though there are some forms that are like the entire show is one scene, a mono scene that just goes for 20 minutes, which can be great and can also be very challenging because you can't switch it up once you've established that reality much. I much prefer to play fast within long form and tag in and out, go place different places with it, find what's funny, play it out, move on.
It would seem to me improv in essence is acting, and it would prepare a comedian to audition and work with others more than stand-ups. Stand-ups can audition effectively in a different way, but I would think that it's at its essence, it's acting.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like improv really helps with auditions because you can button. We just call them buttons. Like you do the as written or whatever, but then throw a button in on the end, something that think that is memorable, that it won't derail what they're looking for, whether it's a commercial or whether it's a TV film thing. But sometimes they're very loose with like feel free to improvise, go off script, do whatever you want. Most of the time they want you to hit the copy and then maybe throw a little thing on, and then I try to because a lot of the time you'll get multiple takes or whatever. And it's changed a lot because now it's a lot of self tapes versus being in the room post pandemic. But you'd be in there and they would have you do it again. And I would just try to think of 3 buttons ahead of time, like with the text, just so I'm improvising, but also I'm kind of sort of writing in a sense. So that way, like if we do it a couple times, I have a couple alternate buttons. So it doesn't look like, well, you thought of one funny thing and nothing else. But the danger of that is sometimes like they like what you did better and they don't hire you for the job. And then you see whatever the spot is and you're like, hey, I did that line, but what the hell?
Oh, wow.
That does happen sometimes.
What do you think people know you better for, Pretty Pony or Sketchfest?
I mean, Sketchfest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get recognized at things sometimes, which is weird. Like I just went to that Paul McCartney show at the Fonda a couple weeks ago. Which was amazing. But some guy came up to me and said, hey, Cole, I just want to thank you for having Kids in the Hall Bring Candy at the festival this year. It was great. And I was like, I don't know who this guy is. And like, how is he pulling me out of the crowd at Paul McCartney? So every once in a while, something like that happens. And people in the comedy world, I think, tend to know who I am at least a little bit. Or people that, have come to the festival multiple times, like will recognize me. But I'm also like the main contact for the emerging comics and, that kind of stuff too. So I watch, 700 tapes every year. Yeah, it's rough, but it's also good because you meet some good people and find some amazing new voices out of it, but also see some of the most tired tropes in the world done 50 times. So yeah, I would definitely say Sketchfest is the thing at this point that I'm most known for.
Can you
still going with the tapes?
I call them that. They're links now, but back in the day, people would submit VHS tapes because we've been around for 23 years now, really 26 because they took a 2-year break or whatever because of the pandemic. But
and like everything in my life, I just missed it.
Right.
I was just
VHS tapes or Sketchfest?
Everything.
All
Sketchfest is it's the biggest comedy thing in San Francisco, and I was once a part of the comedy tapestry in San Francisco.
Tapestry. Well, someone's been reading.
Tapestry.
Okay. Nice vocab word. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Late 90s, early 2000s. And maybe it was just starting when I was kind of departing.
Can you, Cole, what, people know it as this massive festival now, that takes over the city for a month. I mean, it's, you've got, I don't know how many venues on average you're doing, but you're in theaters, you're in clubs, you're in small places, you're in big places. What was it like when you guys decided? Because I feel like it was happening at Cobb's, old Cobb's, like you guys were having conversations about it with Tom and everything. But can you give us what was the history of Sketchfest? How it came together? What was the motivation?
So this whole thing has been really organic. I mean, we're still kind of in shock as to where it went. When we're, I believe at this point, the biggest independently run comedy festival in the U.S. at least.
Wow.
Because we don't have like major corporate underwriting or any of that stuff. It's, a handful of people that run this thing every year and program it and do everything. But when it started out, I was in a sketch group with David Owen and Janet Varney and Gabe Diani called Totally False People. And there was a handful of sketch groups around town, but there weren't venues really to do it at. Because if you did it at Cobb's or any stand-up club, people were confused, like, what is this? We did it at Roosters once, and somebody did a complaint call. I was like, I don't know what this was, stage acting or whatever. Okay. So there wasn't that many places to do stuff. There was Mock Cafe, if you remember that spot, which had the massive beam in the middle of the room. And
if I could say, I thought the Sunnyvalians were very culturally open-minded. That's a disappointment. Continue.
Yep.
Sorry.
So there wasn't really venues to do this in. So, and we banded together with 5 other local teams. There's Casper Hauser, who we really looked up to. We thought they had the most amazing sketch voices out there. White Noise Radio Theater, Meehan Brothers, the Fresh Robots, which had Kamal in it, and Colin Mahan. And it was just great. We rented a theater, the Shelton Theater in Union Square, because you had to rent a theater you can't just do it for a month, really. You had to run it for a month. And we did shows Thursday through Sunday with 2 groups headlining each night. And then the last week we did a cabaret style with every group doing shorter sets, 15-minute sets. And then we had a stand-up host on all those shows, which Joe was one of the OGs. Jeff Bolt, I think, did the very first one.
Wow.
Funny guy.
Yeah, really funny guy. So we kind of came out of that, and then
always got me.
Yeah, the Chronicle ran a story.
Fake, mock. What do you call it?
Puppet.
Yeah, always gets me. Anyway, simple, but
that's good to know.
Yeah,
yeah, for what it's worth.
Well, basically, the Chronicle ran a story on a Thursday night date book back when print mattered. This is 2002. So, getting featured in the Chronicle was huge. And it's we sold it all out. The last week, people were scalping. Somebody figured out that we just bought Admit One tickets and went and bought a roll of them. We're selling them outside. And we're like, whoa, what happened? And we had no idea. We were just trying to showcase sketch, and all of us, we weren't really planning on making it a full-time thing. We just called it a festival to have an angle. And I remember we sold everything out, and then the last night we all went out to some Chinese restaurant near the Shelton. And I remember Stephen Brophy coming up to us and being like, man, we thought you guys were crazy for charging $12. That was insane.
I remember
7-ish
years ago. This is when I really realized how far Sketchfest had come. I have millennial cousins that live in the Bay Area, and they were talking about how, it's hard to get tickets, and we're getting our tickets and it's hard to get them, and I was like, wow, I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah, our on sale every year is always massive, and depending on the year, we've had issues with ticketing companies where all of a sudden the servers go down and it's a nightmare. But yeah, it's a thing. People, will getting tickets to a concert you really want to go to. A bunch of people will queue up right at 10 a.m. that Sunday. Things go on sale, and we sell a bunch of stuff out or get closed on a lot of things. And by the time we actually do the shows, they're really full, which is great.
Yeah.
That says a lot to the San Francisco audiences. I've always thought San Francisco is a great town for supporting comedy and live art in general. It's always been that way, back in the old Cobb's Cannery, it was packed pretty much every night. So I just feel like audiences here are great. Like they're fair, I think. Like if you're not great, they're not going to be like, "Yay, you tried," but they're not going to boo you. You know what I mean? Like they're going to listen. They're going to be attentive. They just might not give you the laughter that you're seeking, but I think they're great and they're supportive and they're pretty hip in terms of like what they want to go to. So
it's been interesting to see the evolution of it. I mean, it's fair to say by now it's grown way beyond sketch. And I think some of the most interesting shows you have like just people being you have other celebrities interviewing other celebrities. You have these panel shows. One year you had John Hamm. I think this year you had the women of Saturday Night Live, which was really interesting. Brain Candy, and you have these really interesting shows that people get to show up for something that they loved and didn't realize other people loved. So you build this incredible community of other people like, hey man, I really, really loved Brain Candy, that movie, or man, it's incredible to ask my favorite Saturday Night Live performer some questions. Was that like a conscious choice to move in that direction, or was that another organic thing?
I think that like sketch was pretty finite in terms of like headliners and like, there's like SNL and Kids in the Hall and UCB and stuff, but there wasn't a ton of stuff to mine. So the first couple of years it was just sketch with stand-up hosts. Like that's all it was. And then we were just like, we're gonna run out of stuff to program. If we want to do this thing, we need to branch it out. So like after year like 3 or 4 or 5, maybe it was like SF Sketchfest, the San Francisco Sketch Comedy Festival, but now we removed the word sketch. So it was just SF Sketchfest, the San Francisco Comedy Festival. Just to be like, let's just do all things comedy. So we started doing improv and more stand-up related shows, film and TV reunions and panels and things, and just kind of growing it out from there. And I mean, we were lucky in that like a lot of the people early on took chances on us. Like year 2, Fred Willard came and the UCB guys came. Just because we like wrote letters being like, come to our thing. And year 2, Tom Sawyer took an interest too and like helped us run it that year too. And because we didn't know what the hell we were doing. Like we didn't know about, artist deals or whatever, any of that kind of stuff, which, Tom kind of helped with. And we just kind of organically grew it out, just kept adding, a couple more venues. Like year 2, we moved from the Shelton to the then Eureka, now Gateway Theater. Which is 200 seats versus like 75 seats, and like kind of grew it out and then added additional venues, started using Cobb's and the Punchline and, working with Live Nation and not against Live Nation and stuff, and just trying to play nice with everybody in town and, show them that we're not a threat. We only operate 3 weeks out of the year and maybe a handful of straight events, here and there, but it's better to play nice with everybody. And, it's been great. Like we have great relationships with, all the promoters in town and a lot of the venues and stuff. And
it's like everybody wins.
Yeah. I mean, that's the hope is like, this brings attention to the comedy, scene in San Francisco and on a national level. And, people, do travel out to come and, pick a weekend out of the 3 that we do and see a bunch of shows. So
is there any show that stands out to you that you booked where you were like, man, this is incredible? And is there any show that stands out in your mind where you're like, wow, we shouldn't have done that?
I mean, I'm sure there are, in terms of bad shows. There's definitely, I mean, nothing that I'm like, oh my God, why did we do that? There's just been like, it's death as a producer, it's like hard to be in a room with a show you booked or your festival booked and watch it just like eat shit like that. That sucks. I'm not a big fan of that at all. Cause I had to, like, after a while, I'm like, I can't sit in here anymore and watch this. This is rough. Cause you feel responsible,
Yeah.
How would it eat shit? The theme just doesn't hit, or the comedians,
or they
aren't
just
hitting,
like, it's just like, it's not hitting or whatever it is, or the show itself is just like bad. You know what I mean? Like they maybe they submitted and it was a great tape or whatever, and then they do completely different stuff, and you're just like, this is not good. Or offensive, like they they think that they're edgy or whatever, and you just watch and you're like, we're gonna get complaints, And most everything we book is not like that. Things are pretty strong and stuff. And I feel like there's been a lot of benchmark shows that we've done that are like, wow, I can't believe we did this. One that pops into mind is we did a Wet Hot American Summer live read, which was on its feet and stuff with like a lot of the original cast, but also like, guest understudies, so to speak. So like the David Hyde Pierce role was David Cross, like things like that. And there was like, I don't know, 50 like huge comedy names on that show. And I remember we were backstage and Michael Showalter was like, if a bomb went off in here tonight, comedy would be kind of fucked. So it was one of those things where we were like, yeah, like, look at this. This is amazing. Wow. And like, sometimes it's because people took chances on us early and then they liked it and they had a good time. Then they tell their friends and then it just kind of built out a family. And there's people that are there every single year or close to it if they can, there's, most of the state people come every year. The Kids in the Hall tend to do that too. I actually ran into Bob Odenkirk at Glenn Hansard's show the day after the Paul McCartney show. It was like really fun. But he's always been a huge supporter of the festival because Bob's like a very creative, amazing guy. And he like loves that we think outside the box. And he's always excited to come and do stuff. And anything we pitch him, he's usually game to do it. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Is that the main draw for big names? It's something that's creative and fun. And how are their agents pitching it to them?
Well,
and how do you get big names as a producer?
That's the tough thing is we're not exactly beloved by agents because we have personal relationships with a lot of these people throughout the years that either they've come to the festival or like Janet and I both live in LA and are in the scene a little bit here, especially Janet. So we've met a lot of people through that. And we try to go through the right channels, but agents suck. So like they will we'll try to deal with publicists or managers if we can, because at least they're sort of understanding of why their clients should do this. Agents tend to be like, what's the money? What's the money? We want 95% of the door. And we're like, well, we can't do that. We don't own the venues. We don't participate in the bar. We either have door split or we're flat out renting it. So like we would like there's one agent that pitched a deal to us and we went like, so if we sold this out, we would lose $5,000. What are you talking about? Like, so they get mad at us a lot because like we'll go through them and we'll do an offer and then we won't hear anything. And then they're jerks about it. And then we go, okay. Well, then we just talk to their client directly and be like, hey, your agent has this offer and like, they're not getting back to us. And they'll be like, what? And then we'll get a really mean email from the agent who's just mad about us doing it that way. It's just like, well, you're not giving us an answer. So like we try to play the game how you want to play it. But like, if you won't play it, then we have to do whatever we can.
Wow.
And people want to be there and like we do the best we can. It's like there's a lot of overhead. It's very expensive to put this thing on year after year. So we can't give the kind of deal that a club would give that they don't care about ticket sales. They want butts and seats so they can serve food and drinks. That's where they make their money. They get, if they get 10% on the door, they're excited. But that would kill us. So it has to be different. Yeah. And we were kind of like, we're not killing the market for you. You can come back in 6 months. You can do whatever you want to do. And most of the time we're telling people, don't do your touring set. Don't do your whatever. Come and participate in these other shows. Like experiment, do fun things, be on each other's shows. These are people that don't see each other all the time that are together for one weekend. That's kind of the goal for us is like, we're not expecting you to come and do your HBO hour, we want you to come and like, goof around. The audience is like that too. They like to feel like they're part of something special that's different and stuff. So that's why our argument is always like, well, we're not trying to like kill what you would do at a big venue here. We're trying we're doing underplays with people and stuff. So, and a lot of people get that. The performers, fully get that, and a lot of the managers and publicists do, and some agents do. There are some agents that are great and play nicely with us, and there are others that are like, oh, so and so's rep by so and so. Well, let's not even go down that road because it's going to be the biggest headache in the world.
When are we going to get the Sketchfest documentary? When like I mean, the amount of talent, like you said. You've got like some of the biggest names in comedy being creative, doing something just ultra cool and unique. Is there any thought to like trying to film like one of these, not just one show, but like just get an overview of some of these amazing shows and pitch that as something bigger? I mean, I imagine you guys have thought about something like that.
We've thought about it, but it's the kind of thing where, like, because we're so small and grassroots, that like the idea of actually making it happen is like, oh God, more work. Like, we tried to do streaming a couple times, and it's the biggest pain in the ass, and like it doesn't. We've like lost money on it, so like we're just like, we don't want to do this anymore. And people will still be like, why didn't you stream blah blah blah? And we're like, because it's a time suck and a finance suck, and like we don't make money. Like, what's the point? Like, why spread ourselves?
Have you guys sort of chosen to remain grassroots? Have you fought off corporate sponsorships so you can?
You'll be shocked to know that people don't want to give you money, especially nowadays. We had Audible as a presenting sponsor for a couple of years, for like 3 years, and that was pretty great. Like, it was a decent amount of money, and it really helped us put stuff on. And we, we work with them. Like, it was Audible Presents SF Sketchfest or whatever those years, but it wasn't like the Audible Comedy Festival with SF Sketchfest or whatever. Like, it was. We're very in control of our brand and like everything that we do. Like, it means a lot to us. This is our kid. So like, we don't, I don't know if there's anybody that can come in and throw a bunch of money at us and be like, sure, whatever you want. Like, we're pretty discerning in terms of, what we want to do.
And speaking of your kid, your baby, what was it like when your baby started, you get to the other end side of that, it starts to work. We realize, wow, this is
what's success like, Cole?
I can't even put it into words.
What does
Tell
that
us
feel
what
like?
it's like.
I mean, look, it's successful in that we're able to do it year after year, but it's not a thing that brings us a ton of money. Like, it's enough to pay for the time that we're putting into it, but like, that's kind of it. Like, it has always been a labor of love, and it always will continue to be that. And it's just like, we're lucky in that we're able to put this on year after year, and we survived the pandemic also. Like, there's a lot of things that don't, they do it for a couple of years and then they stop doing it. Like, I know that like Bridgetown was great, but they stopped doing it because Andy and Matt, like, were just tired of dealing with agents and managers and things, because they just made their lives hell.
That's Portland, right?
That's Portland. And they just got to a point where they're like, we just don't want to do this anymore. It was a labor of love, and now it's just, it feels mean dealing with the reps and things like that too. So they just, they stopped doing it, and it's kind of hard to keep something like this year after year. I mean, we've been lucky in that we've managed to do that, and we'll keep doing that as far as we can tell. Yeah.
Dan, do you want to pitch our Sketchfest show idea? You want to pitch it?
I will pitch it. Okay. It's an evening of 90s comedy. Okay. So here's the idea. We are like going into a time machine into the 90s. And from the host right through the headliner, you're going to have comedians who were around in the 90s, literally probably dressing like and doing their set from that time. So in other words, really playing it straight. And talking about temping and OJ. And so this is opportunity to, first of all, to exist in that world with the jokes we wrote then, and try to stick to it, as opposed to kind of breaking the fourth wall and talking about it.
I think that they have to bring up like their notebook, I think, and they can't make any modern reference. And of course, we want Janine Garofalo to headline.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's something that typifies the 90s, to me, it's Janine Garofalo.
Yeah. And the set we had then, and I'm picturing, remember those those belts we used to wear? Think about
I didn't wear them, but
tucked in shirts and the bad belt that hung over like your dick.
It's a t-shirt underneath an open flannel. That was nice.
Oh yeah.
So you got a bunch of so you got a room full of Gen Xers having a really fun time.
What's up with grunge?
Of nostalgia and laughs.
I like it. I mean, I'm always looking for angles for shows, to be honest. Like, there's so many people that will just submit like so and so and friends, and it's like, okay, sure, fine, but like I don't want to do 10 of those. Things that have more of a hook or more of an angle like are more interesting and sell better. People are more excited to go. I mean, people are going to go to Cobb's on a Friday night no matter what is playing, right? So like, I'm not so worried about what we put in those rooms, but like, we use the Lost Church across the street from Cobb's, which is a really cool space, really cool venue, and I book most of the things in there. And it'll be a lot of like people that submit their, stand-up shows or up-and-coming shows. And like, if it's an interesting hook, I'm usually like, yeah, let's try this. Like, and it usually works. Sometimes it doesn't, but like, I think it's way more interesting than so-and-so and friends.
Is there anything you ever booked where you were really surprised it didn't hit? Like something where you're like, wow, this had everything going for it, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work?
There's been some of those things, sure. Like, I mean, trying to think. I mean, just this past year, like we did a Doug reunion, and like Doug was huge, that animated Nickelodeon show and on Disney Channel, stuff like that too. And like we like had the creator and the voice cast there because we already had Billy West in town for Futurama stuff, and it just seemed to make sense. And we put it at like a 450 seat theater, thinking, okay, it'll probably sell out or whatever. And we sold like 200, which isn't terrible, but it was just like this show was huge, 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 and I thought it would just like hit right in that like nostalgia spot for a lot of people, but for some reason, people just didn't really come out. Like, I mean, it wasn't like embarrassing or anything. It was a nice house and people had a good time or whatever, but you're just surprised sometimes about what works and what doesn't. And then sometimes there's shows that just like perform amazingly well out of the box and then end up becoming staples at the festival year after year that we grow out. Like we did Asian AF for the first time, I don't know, 10 years ago or whatever at a small theater. And it sold out immediately. And we're like, oh, okay. And then we added shows and then we moved it up to a bigger theater and then a bigger theater and then a bigger theater. And like they just became staples at the festival. But that's only because, they submitted and we went like, oh, this is interesting. I like this. This is cool. And we programmed it and then found out that, oh, there's a thirst for this. There's a market for it. And there's shows that we, we'll book just because we like them, knowing that they're going to do X amount of seats and probably no more than that. But we're just, we like it. It's good. So... And there's things that are super surprising too. We did a show for the first time this year that submitted called Ask a Fuck Boy that it's like basically like it's stand-ups, but they do something presentationally about like a fuck boy or so in their life. So it's mostly women and gay men that do this. And then there's a panel of fuck boys that weigh in on it. And they do it like in New York at the Bell House, which is like, 200 seats out there, and they do well, but like it's unknown here in the Bay Area. But we did it at Great American Music Hall, which gets about 400 in there. And I was like, I don't know, just something tells me this is going to do good. And at first it didn't, but then all of a sudden, like it sold 100 tickets in one day, which like close to the show, which is unheard of, You're going to sell 30, 40, something, but like 100 tickets just suddenly. And they came out and they canvassed and they did really good. But like people were really like, and that show was amazing. It was fire. Like people had the best time. And now we're just like, well, we'll definitely bring it back. And I feel like it's starting to blow up and things too. But like, those are the things you just don't know. Like you just go like, this is an interesting concept and like, let's give it a shot. And, I feel like we have a pretty good track record and things tend to do well that we do like that. But every once in a while they don't. And you just go, okay.
Yeah, you got to try it out.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
What, I mean, this is such a fanboy question, but did you have an opportunity to interact and ask John Hamm questions? Like what was John Hamm like if you got to have a conversation with him?
He's nice. He's done the festival a couple times. It's been a minute, but he one year, like I have a group called Theme Park, which is an improv show I do with Janet Varney and Jessica Makeson and a bunch of, like, I'm the not famous person in it. So it's like Rachel Dratch and John Michael Higgins and Michael Hitchcock and Anna Gasteyer now and Oscar Nunez, Simon Helberg, depending on who's available. And we have a guest monologist, a celebrity that, tells stories, and then we pull details from the stories to do improv scenes, and then they come back out at some point and go, hey, that scene they did reminds me of blah, blah, blah. So they do like 3 stories over the course of the night, and we, improvise off of that. And we had John Hamm as our monologist one year. Which was fun because, I was sharing stage with him for 90 minutes and he was super great, told great stories and even jumped in on a scene or two, which was great. Like he's great. He's really cool. There's one, like we do a pre-show slideshow that I put together every year, which has a lot of alumni photos and old photos in there. And there's one from like 2006, I think, that's John Hamm and Zach Galifianakis together. Wow. I think. So like I was like back and I was like, yeah, they came early. Like,
Yeah.
It's just a thing. And sometimes we'll look back and we'll realize like, oh my God, so-and-so did a festival. Like we didn't even know, because like they were part of something that then blew up. And then, yeah, like we did a Reductor show a couple of years ago that I don't remember who's on it, but Ava Victor was on it, who was in that movie Sorry Baby, which is an amazing movie. But like I realized, like, I was like, wait, did she? And I looked, I was like, yeah, she did the festival. Those things happen. Like, you never know. But
can I do my quick John Hamm?
Yep.
Just okay. All right.
Throw back a drink and you got it.
Yeah. It didn't quite get
No, it's good.
Anyway.
It's good. It's good.
All right.
I love it, Dan.
Thank you. Quick departure. Ever do in LA? The Groundlings, IO West, any of that stuff?
Yeah, a little bit. I do mostly stuff over at the West Side Comedy Theater in Santa Monica because that's kind of where I lived on that side of town for a long time and kind of helped develop that space. So I still do stuff there occasionally. I went through UCB. I used to have a monthly show there for a minute. Groundlings, like I've been on the stage a few times. I get invited to do Crazy Uncle Joe and things like that sometimes, which is nice. So I didn't go through the classes or anything and, all the politicking at any of these big spots. It's just nice to go up and be like, oh yeah, I do the show every once in a while and get on the Groundling stage, which is cool. And IO West is long gone, but I did shows there occasionally too.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
All right,
okay. It's been a while.
Right.
No, it was a great space. I mean, they Beer Shark Mice came out of there.
Have I showed you my John Hamm?
Oh God. I hear Bridgetown is looking for a new producer. You're up there, Dan. You might as well swoop up, boy.
I mean, Jay Wurzler is our festival director. He's like the basically the fourth musketeer. He lives in Portland, so we've thought about doing stuff up there. We just haven't gotten around to figuring out how that would be because the festival we do here takes so much out of us. So
yeah, I bet. Are you basically working on it all year long? Like, is there, I imagine there's scheduling things, there's contracts, there's technical issues, there's money, there's like all of that stuff. Is that happening all year round or when does it really kick in?
It's pretty intense, like 6 months of the year and then not as intense the other 6. So like kind of like towards the end of summer, like August is when it starts to really kick into gear and through when we close in February and a little bit of post stuff. So March through July is pretty chill, though we do like figure out our venues that we're going to use and get all that squared away and, rewrap reports and kind of, look forward to the next year and do some light planning. But we're, we have like a weekly call and things like that too, as opposed to like, really bearing down and working on so many hours.
Wow. Okay. What's next for Sketchfest? What's like, is there some big thing that you guys have all been talking about building toward or is it it's like, hey, we just like it, we're gonna just keep doing it, but what's next? Is there a big thing?
I don't know, like we like make huge programming idea sheets every year and to see what we can get, and some years it's like we just had our 23rd festival, but in the 22nd was like all these performers that we had asked many times throughout the years suddenly said yes. So like we had Bill Murray, we had Albert Brooks, we had Tim Curry, Catherine Hahn, like all these things just came through that was just like, whoa, like every year we're like, how do we top last year's festival? And like, that's the one I was like, I don't know if we'll ever top that in terms of a lineup. Though we do.
Did you have to call Bill Murray's 800 number? Is that still a thing? Is that a thing?
Well, it was his thing that he does this music thing where he's with a band called the Blood Brothers and they do like, covers and stuff. And he like sings some stuff and plays bongos and, messes around the stage. So that has a manager. So we were able to do it that way, but we had like, an acquaintance of his like call and say, hey, you should do this festival. It's really great. So like we didn't get to him directly, but we went through the proper channel for this show and also had a friend who loves us, who is friends with him, call and say like, yeah, this is legit. You should go check it out.
So it's true what they told Joe and I when we were young. It's all about relationship building.
I mean, it really is. I mean, it truly is. I think it is in anything that you do, and instead of too, like getting to know the bookers and the other comics and stuff, and putting a good show together if you're gonna go on the road or whatever. And I think it is all relationships, and it definitely has been that for us. Like we would not be where we are if it hadn't been for all these amazing performers that have a great time, but also like want us to do well and support it.
Would you give yourself I mean, this is always like an interesting question to me. Like looking back, I mean, I feel like I've lived 3 or 4 different lives since, those days in Cobb's when we were just like all starting out. If looking back, would you give yourself any advice on any advice, like how look out for this or here's what's going to come? Like what would you tell your younger self?
Oh man.
We go deep.
Yeah, right.
On the Splain.
I mean, I'm always like surprised as to where this thing went. Like I never, if I had told college me that like, hey, you're friends with the kids in the hall, I'd be like, shut up. Like, no way. So that kind of stuff happening and just being around your comedy heroes and finding out that they're mostly great people. So that's amazing to me. So I think it would just be basically like
Cole, stop it. Come on.
I think I would just tell myself like it's just be patient. It will get there. Just keep your head down and keep working hard. Don't lose sight of it. And but also try to take care of yourself and all that too. Like you get lost in the work a lot. And, sometimes you need to be able to be like, well, I've been at the computer for 14 hours. Maybe not tomorrow at all. Things like that too.
Wow. Yeah.
I think, have we arrived at our final?
Oh, do you want to ask it, Dan? So Cole, we ask everybody this question. Sort of the,
yes.
I'm glad you're sitting down.
Cole, you're an accomplished improv comedian. You have sprung this grassroots festival from nothing into a San Francisco staple, a phenomenon. And so you're both producer. I know you're involved with a podcast, many podcasts, and you've built this whole creative career from nothing. Do you feel like a success?
Yeah, I think I do. Like there's always like, I don't think anybody's ever, you don't get to a point where you're like, yep, that's it, I'm done. Like, I think everybody, especially people that are creative people, are always looking at what's next, but and I've been married for almost 30 years now to Jenny, and like, we have pets, we have cats, we don't have kids. So sometimes I'm like, what's my legacy in a sense? And I'm like, well, if Sketchfest, like it's a thing that I think will keep going, long after I am not doing it anymore. That's my hope. So I feel like on that point, I do feel successful. It's, it's never enough in a sense, like you're always trying to figure out what's next, but I don't view myself as a failure. I view myself as somebody that is doing good stuff and I'm happy with it artistically. And, you're
not a failure. All right. All right. If you want to roll that way.
It's interesting to ask, like, so far, I think you and one other person have definitively said like, yeah, I feel like a success, which is oddly, I mean, I'd like to see more people say that, I'd like
comedians have trouble.
Comedians, I think a lot of people have trouble just saying like, yeah, I'm a success for a variety of reasons, but it's always good to hear people say that. And it's also good that you're getting your lawn taken care of. Who?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
We should but that is success.
That's
right there.
Doing a podcast, you got a guy out there with a leaf blower taking care of shit. That's life, man.
I mean, I also think that people like you have to be able to like roll with where your life goes. And so, I moved to LA thinking I was gonna be an actor and it was gonna be this big thing and I was gonna make my money acting and blah blah blah. But like I don't. Like I get an occasional role on something every once in a while. Like my life turned to be producing comedy. Like that is primarily what I do. I do perform it still because I love it and I need to do that. But like it was part of me for a while that was kind of bummed out about the fact that like, hey, I'm not really acting. Like it's not really, I thought that's what I was going to do. But then I just came to peace with like, well, but what I am doing is cool. Like, so I just need to accept that and move with it. And once I did that, I was a lot happier.
I think that's really important. To accept the pivot. Sometimes there's a pivot we don't see coming. I remember Greg Barrett was telling me about that. He did not see the whole world of being an author or any of that, but it was this whole other opportunity.
Totally. Yeah, that's a great example.
I think of Dana Gould when because he went down to LA with the idea that he was going to be the next big thing, and everyone told him you're going to be the next big thing, and then he didn't become the next big thing, but he found that he really enjoyed writing. And the way that he summed it up, he was just like holding court after a show at the Punchline one night, and he just said, you go down there and things lead to things. And if you get out of your own way, it can lead to some pretty cool things. And
right.
I always thought that was a nice way to explain it. I mean, it because I think we all go down to LA thinking like, I'm going to be this actor, comedian, whatever. And for most people, you end up taking a smaller role, but and I think for a lot of people, it's very enriching. And they really enjoy it, and they get to see it. They also get to see, like, man, some of the people who get fame, and then it's not healthy for them.
Totally.
It doesn't help their life in a substantial way. But that's really cool. Like, is there one thing though that, like, outside of Sketchfest, is there one thing that you would really like to do that you would say, like, okay, man, I got to do that. That's awesome.
Oh man. I mean, traveling things, but like I really want to see the Northern Lights. That has to happen. I gotta get to Iceland and do that. But in terms of like career wise or like comedy wise or running wise, like I have things kicking around always that I just don't get around to doing. So I feel like I just need to like do those things. And there's also like, I'm very musical, but like I don't play instruments like I sang. And like I understand music really well, but like I don't, like my dad and my brother are both musicians, play guitar great and sang and this whole thing. And like, I just never picked up the guitar. Like it's one of those things. And and when I try it, I'm infuriatingly bad at it enough that like, I just won't stick with it. And I've taught myself how to do a lot of things like, Photoshop, like I'm really good at that. I just did that off of YouTube tutorials to figure it out. Like if you bear down, you can learn things. You just have to have the patience and to understand that you will fail at it for a while until you get good at it. So there's part of me that like wants to do that, like finally learn the guitar, pick up a looping machine because I like to do that, like that kind of stuff. I think would be really fun. Like those things, like I think to explore the musical side of myself more, I think would be a big thing for me.
All right. Well, we look forward to the album.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Cole. I mean,
thank you for joining us.
Love to have you back on sometime.
Really
and
yeah,
I have so many memories of that era, and then also just like the way that I think of that part of my life is like pre-rehab almost, there's like pre-rehab and post-rehab.
Right.
But I mean, just those nights, those Wednesday nights, the Riffingtons things, I mean, some of those shows were ghastly, like just assaults on my self-esteem and like, why am I up here? And then there were other nights that were just fucking magical. And then in between there were some crazy nights, with stuff that went on stage. And I mean, and that it turns out like, all of it was really special. I look back very fondly, on all of that. And I wish I would have gotten out of my own way too. I wish I would have really, really like jumped in more on improv, gotten into sketch. I wish, now I feel like the young stand-ups, they understand like, I can't just be a stand-up. I've got to really try other things and see what else is interesting to me. And good for them. Because, I was just like, nope, I'm a stand-up.
Yeah. We were a no. Joe and I learned to say no.
Yeah. And it wasn't good.
So, it wasn't. It wasn't.
Yeah.
And I'm sure when I first heard of Sketchfest, when it got on my radar, I'm sure I discounted it.
Good luck with that, guys. What? Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard of that.
Yeah, I mean, we were skeptical, we didn't know what we were doing at all. And that we're just like still pinch ourselves that it is where it is now. And like the Riffington stuff at Cobb's, like, as you said, Joe, it was ghastly sometimes. And other times it was so much fun. And I always just like being on stage, but like the Riffingtons led to me moving to Los Angeles in that like, after one of the New Year's shows that we did with Greg Proops, like he came up to me afterwards. He's like, I think he said like, shit hot, Cole, why are you here? You need to be in LA. Like he's the one who said, you need to make the jump. You need to go. Cause I was debating it, but I was just like, I wasn't ever going to do it. And then because he was the one who was just like, you should go do this. I was like, yeah, maybe I should. This is like somebody I really respect in comedy and improv and stuff, telling me basically like, yeah, do it, go do it. And I think, that's why I did.
Wow. Very same show, he came up to me and said, Joe, don't move.
Joe, stay.
Just
Where
stay.
you going?
What are you doing?
Unpack.
Yeah, come on. Don't go. All right, Cole. Thank you. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
We always like to leave things on a self-deprecation.
It just happened that way.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
continued success. We'll see you next year, hopefully with our 90s show.
Yeah,
right, Dan?
I think that sounds fun. Don't let me forget about it. Hit me up about it.
We absolutely
will.
Please do.
We will.
Yes, for sure.
Sweet. Love it.
Peace out.
All right, thanks,
Peace
guys.
out. Like and subscribe to the Splain, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out.